Now as a country and nation, all rise for the national anthem. We stand here together, united with pride, beneath our flag, waving gallantly on high. Across the land our people did ride, noble steeds of steel. Against the tide, longboats and galleons, they bring our people home. The old gods, they called us to the sacred stones. Nomads together, no longer we roam. We reap the fruits of the seeds we sow, for from tiny acorns the mighty oak grows. We're busting out of the box, we're breaking the mold. We're no longer trusting the fairy tales we're sold. No longer buying the poisons we're sold. The men and women of Wayward are going back to the old.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video about the Kingdom of Wayward. Today I'm going to be doing another micronational review, and today I have chosen the micronation that is the Isle of Lithua, or the Kingdom of Lithua. Now, the Kingdom of Lithua is going to be a bit of a biased one because I have met Princess Claire of Lithua and I have been to Lithua. And Lithua is based in the United Kingdom. So again, I already know where it is. I know a lot more about it. But because they did pop up on the Twitter feed and they did show an interest in it, I'm going to choose them next as the third micronation as part of the micronational review. We've already done Australia, we have already done Obscurium, two micronations that I wouldn't see as on the same level as Wayward. I wouldn't even see us in the same categories. I didn't even know how to categorize Obscurium because they don't even categorize themselves as a micronation. They categorize themselves as a micronational state. However, with Australia, they do call themselves a micronation, and I can't find any reason why they shouldn't be a micronation. So as far as we're concerned, Australia is a micronation, and Obscurium is a microstate, and microstates are, in the analogy that I'm using, they aren't a burger van, a fast food restaurant, or a gourmet restaurant, but indeed an ice cream van, and not a part of our kind of micronational review as much as a micronation would be. We also concluded that both these nations have nothing to offer really any benefits whatsoever to their citizens, to the outside world, or indeed to Wayward, and because of this, Wayward has nothing that we could ever give them, or they could ever benefit from us. However, that's not to discredit them. They are doing their own thing in their own house, so we'll just leave them to it, and they're just getting on with it. And as I say, today I'm going to be looking at Lithua and what they have got available for us to see as just a general member of the public. I don't mean any offence in what I say. I don't want people to get offended or insulted. I know some of you will, but that is not what this is. It's not so much a micronational roast, just a review as my own micronational kind of perspective from what I kind of would expect to see in the micronational world. And until we see a reason to to belittle someone or criticize them, let's say, that's a better word, then we're not just going to do it out of the spite or maliciousness of our own of our own attitude or personality. We do it because it's meant as constructive criticism. It's meant to be helpful to these micronations. Whether they see it that way or not, that's entirely up to them. They can choose to be offended and get upset about it, or they can choose to be offended and then do something to improve or get better, or just ignore it. Just ignore it, because that's what I would do most of the time. If I didn't agree with someone and I really thought, you don't know what you're talking about, I just ignore them, because it would just be too much of my energy and effort to rise up to it. So if you do take offence and you are upset by what I'm saying, then feel free not to continue watching our mini-series, which is the micronational review, because you are going to get reviewed. And as I say, today we're going to be reviewing Lithua, and it is going to be biased to a certain degree because I already know a lot about them and I've met them, and we do have, as far as I'm aware, a good kind of relationship and some rapport there between the royal families of Lithua and Wayward. So it is going to be a little bit biased. However, I do want to kind of stress that this isn't my personal opinion per se on any of these micronations. It's my opinion on what I find publicly. So although I may know already what Lithua do and where they are and what they've got and this, that and the other, I'm not going to use that in my review to give them points. I'm going to find out what they are actually doing in the real world and what they post, and then we will review it. So we'll be looking at what benefit Lithua would be to its own citizens, what benefit Lithua would be to the outside world, and what benefit Lithua would be to Wayward if there is any, and what benefit we could potentially be for them if there is any. We'll also be looking at the micronational hallmarks like a flag, national anthem, territory, citizens, activity on social media, things like this. We're going to be looking at how they construct their governments, how they conduct themselves as micronational leaders, and things like this. Very much as we have done before. When I go on to the kind of social media aspect of things and scroll through, this is done this is done with all good intentions and with educational purposes in mind. And again, I have to stress, I don't mean any offence or anything like this to anybody in what I'm saying. It is just a matter of perspective. So without further ado and without dragging it out too long, I present to you the Isle of Lithua. So here we are back on the original Twitter feed, and originally Claire from Lithua, she actually commented on the post saying to shoot an email, but I figured it wouldn't necessarily be worth shooting her an email about this because it's not something specifically for Lithua or needing anything, participation wise. So we're going to jump straight on over to their Twitter, which is Claire Lithua on Twitter. And straight away you can see that they've got 529 followers, which is a very good following for micronations on Twitter. Now, they don't seem to have a profile picture, and I don't know if that's because it's not loaded on my behalf or if they've taken it down for whatever reasons. Their backdrop doesn't have their flag or anything, so they don't have anything in regards to their banners or colours, but they do have a website link on their Twitter, so we'll check that out in a minute. And obviously here they've got pinned at the top, you can see a way to contact them, and straight away you can see what their issue is, or what their kind of objectives are, what their principle is, because they've talked about climate change straight away. And again, if you go up here back to the top, sorry, I forgot to say, there is a kind of heading that says it's a conservation project. So already we know that they are, doing what they are doing for environmental reasons. This here is a picture of the territory itself, or from the outside, one would assume it was the territory itself. However, again, I've been there, so I know that it is, and I don't want to use my biased opinion or perspective in the influence of the review, but for the sake of this, I will just clarify that this is their territory. There's the picture of it with a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year message. And the one thing I will say about Claire is she is very organised, and she is very on it. A lot of pictures, a lot of updates, and I wouldn't expect anything less from Claire, to be honest. And the thing is, a fun fact about Lithua is Claire, although she does all the social media and the pictures like this with the updates and things, she's not actually the head of Lithua, or the figurehead of the royal family. There is actually a queen of Lithua, which again I've had the pleasure of meeting, and you will probably see that here at some point. There'll be a picture of it as it comes up on the Twitter feed, and again it is going to kind of make me more biased, because they are a great family, and they are lovely people, and again they've gone up and beyond when it comes to their own micronation. Just going through here and having a look, there are a few retweets, but as you can see, there's always something to read from Lithua itself, unlike the other micronations that were just retweeting the achievements of other micronations. Lithua don't. They are personally updating it themselves with pictures, with posts. There's a post there about that's a retweet, I think. No, it's not. It's not even a retweet. She decided to actually just put a post up about the Imperial Union. So that is the Imperial Union, or at least the old Imperial Union since this video, or at least since this post, and this video actually. Selassie and Branhow have left the micronational sort of Imperial Union, and Stamaria has abandoned the term micronations altogether. But we've still got a tweet there, so we'll thank her for that. But then we get straight back to the real world thing. You know, there's updates here about the kingdom. There is, because that's the thing with Lithua. They are a kingdom, but they are the Isle of Lithua. So it's the Isle of Lithua, which is a kingdom. And they're updating it. They're putting pictures on it. They are basically active. And this is probably why they've got so many followers on Twitter, because they're actually doing something, and they're not just retweeting, as I say, the achievements of other micronations. And again, you can check all this out yourself, and see for yourself. There's Princess Claire there at a micro con or a micro meeting, and again, you can kind of see the way that Claire presents herself. You know, she is a regal figure. She is by, you know, by and large, respected and rightfully so within the micronational community. Some more pictures of her there. Of course, I've had the privilege of meeting her, but I've also done an interview with Claire as well, which is available on the channel. That's in the playlist called Micronational Interviews, because I have been there. I have seen Lithua myself, the Isle of Lithua. This is the Stamarian stater coin with the Lithuan crown on, because again, Lithua is known to Wayward. They are one of the only micronations or communities that has their kind of symbol, if you like, their flag, or, you know, what represents their community, on a silver coin. There's only 3 micronations or 3 communities out there that are on these coins, Wayward being one, Lithua being the second, and then overall on every one of them there's Stamaria, and Stamaria is obviously on the other side of that coin, because we are kind of in conversations and in kind of various different sort of trade agreements and things like this. But yeah, Lithua is an active micronation on Twitter, but I really want to find out more about their website and what they have to say for themselves on there. I'm just looking at this new coat of arms here, which is kindly commissioned by Her Royal Highness the Princess Cedrus, not sure, of the Principality of the Northern Forests. That's another one that is on my list. So yeah, we'll be checking them out. But they've done some artwork there for Lithua, which is the new coat of arms. Which again, it doesn't take me by surprise with the butterflies and the plant life, or the what is vegetation kind of growing around there, because of their kind of principles and where they stand environmentally. Let's go back up to the top and check out their website. Again, I'm not sure why their Twitter picture's not come up or anything like this, but we'll carry on to the website. So straight away, there's a nice picture of their kind of island, the Isle of Lithua, because if you look at the picture, what you're seeing is a river that kind of divides around the island, and the island in the middle is Lithua. Their flag's right at the top there. It's quite small. It doesn't take the main stage, and I think that's kind of testimony to their real world status, because they have physical land and they're physically doing something in the real world. That takes precedence. So they don't need to have coats of arms and flags and badges and all the micronational stuff that all the others would show off on their homepages. Instead, Lithua jumps straight to the point and says, yeah, that's our flag at the top, but that shouldn't take precedence. Our kingdom takes precedence, and here is a picture of it. So I like that. Admittedly, this is the first time I've been on Lithua's website. So this is a first time for me, despite our affiliation in the past. So we got, welcome to the Isle of Lithua, a conservation micronation. See, again, I love this. I love the fact that it's straight to the point. She has summarised everything you need to know about the Isle of Lithua in that first bit. There's a picture. There's the kingdom. It's right there. Welcome to the Isle of Lithua, a conservation micronation. So now we know it's a conservationist kind of micronation with those kinds of values. Easy, straight to the point. And then it goes on. More self-explanatory kind of, explanations or whatever about it and not beating around the bush. Lithua is a tiny island between two rivers. Bam, straight to the point. This tiny island, although part of a rural village nestled in the Welsh Hills, bam, straight away, we know they're in Wales. Straight away. Of course, I already knew all this, but straight to the point on the website if I didn't. There's no messing about. I love the efficiency of this. This tiny island, although part of a rural village nestled in the Welsh Hills, is uninhabited and as such declared itself an independent sovereign micronation in 2020. So they are again, quite old, but not old, if that makes sense. So 2020 isn't a long time, but it is still 3 years, which is, again, quite a long time. Especially in micronational circles. In fact, for the previous couple, none of them predate, before 2000. So, anything before 2000 is probably classed as, an older, more kind of off the internet micronation, whereas after I'd say anywhere after the 2000s and 2020 something, 2021, not 2020, sorry, but after 2000, 2001, 2, 3 or whatever, these are more moving on to social media platforms. Whereas again, this isn't the case here because even though they were only founded in 2020, they do have that physical territory. They've already, got it. It's there. And although this coarse and rocky scrubland is entirely uninhabitable and mostly inaccessible with no dwellings on the island itself, the Kingdom of Lithua is in itself a proud micronation with a rich culture and thriving community around the world. It's straight to the point. It's straight to the point and it tells you exactly as it is. They founded the conservation project on the 7th of June to prevent litter dumping and raise awareness of riverside wildlife. See, you can't help but want to support a cause like that. Again, it is straight to the point, and I would say that's far better than previously saying, well, I just want to teach kids about government, or I just want to be a leader who doesn't lie to their people, because that's all well and good. That's fine. You can have that stance, and that's a good stance to have, and you'll get points from Wayward for having that kind of attitude towards it. But there's no greater kind of way to make a point than to actively go out and make that change in the physical realm. So when you say you're there for the environment and you're doing things for the environment because you want to make a change and then you actively do it, that's far superior, in my opinion, to not doing anything at all and just talking about it. Especially if you're talking about say communities where you don't want to be a leader that lies to your people, but then you have no people, so it doesn't really matter. For Lithua to make the claim that they want to help prevent litter dumping and raise awareness of the riverside wildlife, to make that claim, and then for me to go to Lithua or to see pictures of there being rubbish or being litter and things like this, I would say that's a lie. She's not doing anything. But that's not the case. They have said they want to prevent the litter dumping. They've said they want to raise awareness of the riverside wildlife. And as far as I'm aware, and as far as I've seen so far, that's what they've done. Pictures of the ducks, pictures of the river, you can see the river yourself. You can see them actively doing something in the real world. The Isle of Lithua's message is one of caution and preservation of our environment. It is not a secessionist movement and does not seek to become de facto recognised by the international macronations. See, it doesn't want to. It doesn't want to be recognised by the macronations. I suppose it doesn't have to, because they don't want to be a country. They just want to help their island. They want their island to be clean of litter. So I suppose as a country, they are not. but as a nature reserve, as a micronation that is dedicated to helping that outside natural beauty, that's what they are doing, and that's what they are. You know, the Isle of Lithua is an absolute monarchy. There is no democracy or elections. However, citizens may apply to become ambassadors and consuls if they have prior experience. It exists in the spirit of good fun and good intentions. See, again, straight to the point. And I love it when things are straight to the point. The national flag of Lithua reflects the land that it has been founded on. The sky and royal blue represent the two rivers running adjacent to one another. The green circle in the centre represents Lithua's island status, and the crown in the centre of the green circle represents the royal family who reign over it. Simple, to the point, there's our flag, that's what it means. Boom. The official state language of Lithua is English, although Lithuans may also speak Welsh. Both the Crown Prince and the two senior princesses speak this language, and Lithuans also enjoy many Welsh customs such as, and I'm not even going to insult you by trying to pronounce that, the festivity of St. David's Day, which is on the 1st of March, and it's a national state holiday. Other state holidays are on the 24th. Again, you know, there's these calendar references. You know, Wayward, again, we have state holidays and stuff for birthdays and things like this. They've done the same. Other notable holidays are August. There's again more days. The one thing they don't have is an actual calendar, though. So I'm actually pleased to see there isn't an empty calendar, though they could actually have a calendar with things on them. So the one website that could have a functional calendar doesn't have one, and the two that do have calendars have nothing on them. But then straight away, this is great because, again, straight to the point. The Lithuanian national anthem, Land of Hope and Glory, is well known and sung on most national holidays in the embassy. However, it is only sung nationwide on the birthday of the reigning monarch. Now, again, same thing with Obscurium. Is your national anthem Land of Hope and Glory as in the title, or is it indeed the actual lyrics? Land of Hope and Glory, long live Lithua. Is that it? I doubt it. I should stop making that joke. But I'm sure we'll find out more. The national dish of Lithua is fish lasagna made with salmon or rainbow trout in cheese sauce, as fishing is the only potentially feasible export of this riverside nation. Boom! Straight away, I'm glad they mentioned it. I didn't want to bring up the exports because I didn't know if they were going to publicly say it, but they do. Straight away. For somebody that doesn't claim to be, a micronation or want to be recognised as a micronation in the conventional sense, they are doing extremely well, aren't they? Let's be honest. And again, it may be my biased opinion, but they've got the territory, they've got exports, they've got the national anthem. You know, they've got a system, and they have already previously stated that this is what they're doing and the way they are doing it, and you know, we haven't even got started yet. This could be the shortest one yet and the most informative. In the past, there has been trade done with Lithua, and I have actually had the salmon and tried the salmon in the wine that they have produced, and yeah, you know, it is something worth bragging about, that, you know, your country can make wine, for example, and export that. You know, it's something that's giving you a bit of an edge, giving you something, you know, a bit of an advantage with building an economy, or financing your overall goals. You know, if they are selling fish and things, or at least trading the fish and things, potentially they're putting that money and those resources back into the conservation side of things. So they've got a system, a financial backing of some description. The official currency of Lithua is called coin, typically gold or silver bullion. However, other metals such as copper and aluminium are accepted. So they just take anything that's got value: gold, silver, copper, aluminium. So again, they're not looking at taking paper money or pretend money. They want gold. They want silver. This is, again, one of the reasons that Stamaria can trade with Lithua, because Stamaria has silver coins. And Lithua isn't restricted by that, because they can take any gold, silver, or anything from anywhere. And if they're getting fish for free out the river, potentially, they're actually making a lot of, or could potentially, micronationally, be independently making a good profit for their treasury. In that sense. The feudal system is still strictly observed in Lithua. The first official state ruler was His Majesty's His Majesty King Graham I, who passed away on the 23rd of April 2022. His Royal Highness Crown Prince John is pending coronation after 1 year mourning period is up, and his coronation shall be in April 2023. So that's only a few months away now. So yeah, I look forward to seeing more about that. The kingdom is ruled by the divine right theory. This means that the monarchy is simply observed and respected as a birthright of the royal family. This is just so much good information so quickly. I'm really happy about this. I didn't expect anything less, if I'm honest. I knew I was gonna be pleasantly surprised by doing this video. It's one of the reasons I've done it first. Noble titles and honours are awarded solely by the royal family of Lithua and may be given to citizens who have contributed greatly to the Isle of Lithua. Such titles are Earl, Knighthoods, Dame, Baron, Baroness, Baronet, observed as a gender-neutral equivalent in the Isle of Lithua. Oh, okay, fair enough. Lord, Lady, I can't even read that word. Marquise, and Viscount. Again, this is micronational, national kind of stuff, like noble stuff. Wayward kind of came away from the noble kind of stuff. So I'm not all, up to date with it all. I'm not an expert in it. So we'll move on to the citizens. They may obtain the noble title of Lord or Lady via the Patreon page and making a sizable donation. The title remains with the holder for all the time that they continue to make donations, otherwise it is revoked by the royal family, and the proceeds go towards conservation efforts only. See, again, they have a Patreon. They are taking kind of contribution based money so that they can put it back into their micronation. The citizenship is free though, so you can apply for citizenship. However, some citizens do offer a small donation. Yeah, because it makes sense, because what you're doing is an active real world thing. Like you say, litter picking equipment, seeds and things. We've actually previously taken plants up to Lithua for them to plant in their territory. So I hope they actually are doing well and didn't just wilt and die. Nesting boxes as well. All of this is stuff that Wayward does in the woodland as well. We are building nesting boxes and putting up owl boxes and planting plants and stuff like this, because there is a huge environmental element to Wayward and our micronation. Very big environmental element, and this is why, again, Lithua is one of those micronations that Wayward, I do believe, is kind of on the same level with. The flag of Lithua, there we go, that's it close up. The most widely seen representation of this unique island nation, the two shades of blue. We've read this about the crown, about the flag and the crown and the blues. We've got the national anthem here again. As said, it's the land of hope and glory. We've got this picture, which is the state crest of Lithuanian Royal House. Its crest says here, it translates to flowing like the river, which again is very Lithuan. But the Lithuanian animal is the stag, which apparently is the symbol of the Lithuanian nation's victory in their fight for independent status and victory in their fight to conserve the nature of the Isle. See, that's a good representation, isn't it? To have that representing your micronation. I just would have assumed that it would have been something like a salmon or a heron, because it's a river. But your house. The national dish of Lithua is that salmon or trout lasagna there. Which does look quite nice, doesn't it? Does look quite tasty. And that's that for the information. We have pretty much gone through that really quickly, and I feel I already know enough about them to say, yeah, that's fine. You're in the big league. Let's have a little look up here. The royal family. Right, so the royal family of Lithua, you've got Her Majesty Queen Cherry, again, a lovely lady, very hospitable, one of the greatest hosts I've ever had the pleasure of meeting personally, but again, I'm not going to be biased here. I'm not going to read through all of this because it's there available, and again, I'll put the link in the website down in the description so you can check it all out. But they've got all the information of the royal family of Lithua, and those involved, princesses, dukes. We've got the embassy of Lithua, but there are unfortunately no public tours of the embassy of Lithua, as the royal family maintain strict rules of privacy. Oh, I vaguely remember actually. I I have been to the Embassy of Lithua. I was thinking, did I see that when I was there? But yes, I have. I have been there. That's where I went, to their embassy. So again, yeah, we're back here now with some more pictures at the bottom. Back to that territory. There you go. It's right there. You can see it, and you can join their mailing list if you so choose. It's all factual. It's all to the point. Love it. Right, the About page, I believe, is where we started, which is all the stuff there which we've been on. So we'll skip to the next bit. Gallery. Here we are. So there's the royal family, or at least the prince and princess, Claire and John. They've got their flag, and they've got a real physical flag, and I believe that is the walk to the river that they're going down there. There's the river itself. There's Princess Claire, and various other pictures of the river. But again, it's great stuff because you can physically see their island. You can see what they're doing. You can see the territory. You can see that you can even see how proud they are of what they are doing, and they have every right to be proud of this, because let's be fair, we need to start doing more to help the environment, you know, and that's why I do believe that micronations do have a power here. They do have power. To contact them, again, it's just the email list. We've got the government, I believe, structure. Oh no, we don't have the government structure, because they're a lot more advanced than just putting random names and random titles down. They've got a proper little agenda here, which is the maintenance projects, which is having spoken to local government and developmental authorities within the area, the king has successfully negotiated the procurement of necessary equipment to facilitate the flora and fauna project on the Isle. The local and national authorities of the United Kingdom have approved and given guidance on how best to go ahead with this, and more will be announced in the next coming months. So that's good. That's good, because their maintenance projects and the projects that they're doing aren't just an idea. They are actually physically, or literally going out there and doing it. An official committee has been formed, and postage stamps have been created with the intention to be sold as souvenirs. So they've got merchandise here, I guess for citizens, for tourists, for anybody who wants to buy them. So they've got merchandise, they've got a Patreon, they've got their exports, they've got their kind of goal of what they want to do, and every bit of those proceeds, I imagine, all of it, I don't know if all of it goes in it, but I'm imagining it does, all of it goes into helping their micronation grow and become more environmental, more environmentally happy and conserved. We've got the orders and honours. A committee has been formed to create 1 royal order and 3 medals to be given to citizens of Lithua for outstanding contributions towards the micronation's efforts for conservation. So yeah, there's honours and postage stamps and things like this. They've got allies, friends and family here. They've got the Commonwealth of Dracul, which I'm guessing these are trade partners or mutual recognitions or things like this. Again, we are going to look at these in the future. So the Commonwealth of Dracul, the Grand Principality of Laurenburg, the Grand Duchy of Flandrensis, the Empire of Carina Ruthena, the Principality of Akumorts, no idea, West Arctica, the Ambulatory Free States of Obsidia, the Kingdom of Scone, the House of Dehera, Empire of Lamarck, the Principality of Biramagine, the Principality of Moshka, the Republic of... So they do have a lot of reputation when it comes to micronational world, don't they? It's plain to see that she is very popular and well liked, and again, rightfully so. The Republic of Ultratana, the Kingdom of Purpland, the Sanctuary, that sounds a bit ominous. The Kingdom Half Republic of Taelin's Land. I'm going to be writing a couple of these down on my list because I don't have them. The Begley Commonwealth, the State of Wimitra, Kingdom of Quentavella, and that's the list of their recognised or friendly nations. And then they got the Jewels of Lithua, which is the crown, which is there. They got crown, which is
the Crown of the official head of state worn purely for ceremonial purposes in accordance with strict royal protocol of typical European houses. What else we got? Another crown, or tiara. So there's the tiara, another tiara, the tiara, tiara. See, tiaras make sense, really, in crowns like this, because she's a princess. And there are multiple princesses within the royal family, if I remember correctly. Princess Claire, Princess Tasman Eleanor. Oh, maybe there's just two. But then, of course, you've got the Queen as well. Anyway, what else have we got? That's it. We have literally gone through all of that so quickly that we're done there. That's that. Okay, so I did see somewhere that there was a link for Facebook, which is there. So we'll jump straight over to Facebook then. So this is the Isle of the micronation of Lithua. Cover photo is the Isle of Lithua, flowers with the flag and the coat of arms there. And then their profile picture is the coat of arms, or the old coat of arms, or something that is micronational to Lithua, and a symbol of them. And we've got here the updates and the pictures, and all their achievements. Just as big a kind of presence on Facebook as there is in oh, there we are, as there is on Twitter. That's the meeting that we had when we went to the Isle of Lithua. So left to right, when we visited, you've got the Welsh ambassador for Wayward, or the Waywoodian Welsh ambassador, whichever way you want to look at it. Ellen, or should I say Lady Ellen, because she's actually a lady of Wayward. And then you've got the Queen of Wayward, Queen Lil. Then you've got the Prince of Wayward, Prince Torren, me, King of Wayward. Then you've got Queen Cherry of Lithua, next to obviously Princess Claire of Lithua. And then you've got the Imperial family on the right hand side, with Princess Eleanor being held by Emperor Andrew next to his Empress Samantha. So that is when we went and traded. We didn't go to trade, actually. Wayward didn't go to trade. We went as a visit, as a state visit. But Stamaria traded silver for salmon and wine. And if I just click on this here, that is official Chardonnay produced in Lithua, labelled up and bottled. So that is, again, evidence of their exports and their kind of their own produce being used and utilised in the real world. That's the wine there being made, or being bottled up, or at least says it's ready for the state visit that we went on. And then again, it just goes on to talk about more about the projects and what they've got. They've got some stickers now, they've got merchandise, but again, it makes sense. So, if you want to help them and support them with bird boxes and the conservation, then you can support them financially by buying their merchandise and things like this, Again, anybody is welcome to just go through this and have a look at it. In fact, I encourage it. But it is all very informative. So we've got a video here on the Facebook, which is the first bird box up, generously sponsored from the Sovereign House of Mithras. Lithua has already seen her second patron, and we look forward to putting up another one as soon as possible. So there we are. There's their first nesting box, and this is the Queen of Lithua on the island. So you can see the island there and the bird box. You can see the physical territory. You know what they're trying to do. They want to help the environment. They want to keep the river clean. They want to see the island flourish. And I think that's, a great reason to become a micronation. And there's their Patreon here. One thing we haven't done is look on Patreon for other micronations, but they didn't make it known. So you can join Lithua here. And they've got different tiers for what they will do. So, you know, for the first tier, if you join it, they will contribute to the feeding of birds on the island, and a bird box will be added in your name, you know. So again, there's something coming out of it. You're joining them and supporting them to help the environment. It's a good cause. And then we've got another one here, which is a duck box or a duck nesting box as well. So the higher you go, the bigger the things they can do. Same with Wayward. The more support we get, the more we can do. And if again anybody is interested in helping this project, I would recommend it, because it is for a good cause. Maybe not micronationally, but as an environmental you know, thing, an activist kind of thing, then yeah, you know, it makes sense. It's a little island that could do with you know, being left wild. So why not wild it up and yeah, make that a micronation. I've come back to their website because I was going to see if there were any other links for any other social media, but I can't remember seeing any. They've got the Patreon there. What I'm really looking for is YouTube, I think. But no, I think the YouTube link would be alongside the Facebook link, which is a shame, because I'd like to have seen if they had more footage or videos of the territory, especially videos. Right, so I've googled the micronation Isle of Lithua, and it has come up with the top result as the Isle of Lithua, commonly known as Lithua, is a micronation that claims an island in I can't even pronounce that, but it's in Wales. It is not recognised by any macronational country or government, although it is recognised by several other micronations and micronational entities. Then they got the micro wiki there, so, and then it goes on to their Facebook, which we've already seen, and their website. So let's see what it says in the micro wiki. Though I did originally say I was going to start in the micro wiki, I'm trying to get through the people that commented on the Twitter first, because I'm going to start with their Twitters. The Isle of Lithua, commonly known as Lithua, is a micronation that claims an island in, I'm going to say, Wales. It is not recognised by any micronation. Yeah, we know all this is. This is the stuff that is all on the website, and that's good, because I don't like mixed information. Because in the past, we could have just saved our hassle with Australia by just looking on Wiki, which was a lot easier than looking on their website. Whereas with the previous Obscurium, and by the looks of it, Lithua, they are very similar to their websites. They have a history, short, sweet, to the point. So they were founded on the 7th of June, 2020. This tiny micronation, they say tiny, but don't forget, from tiny acorns, mighty oaks do grow. And from tiny rivers, great big oceans are formed. So yeah, in September 2021, the Isle of Lithua had its first state visit and welcomed photographer Alex Stewart. See, I've had Alex Stewart here as well. He's a renowned micronational journalist person. We've got the legitimacy claims, which is, I guess, all about the claiming of their territory, because that is, again, another thing that Lithua have done, is that they have claimed their territory because they grew up on the island. So they claimed it because nobody else did. So, yeah. Diplomacy. The governmental duties are carried solely by senior members of the royal family. Other things and other bits and pieces. Oh, look, Mario gets a mention. Includes such things. Lithua became an external trading ally of Stamaria in May 2022, and as such accepts the Stamarian data as currency throughout the nation. Well, they would, though, wouldn't they? Because it's silver. So yeah, it makes sense. The two main exports of Lithua are white wine and cured salmon, as fishing is the only plentiful food resource nationwide. As bullion is the official currency of the kingdom, the late King His Majesty King Graham I felt it an amicable and mutually beneficial arrangement between the two micronations, as well as the other micronations that make up the Empire of Stamaria, thus forging friendships between Lithua and the Kingdom of Wayward, that's me, and the Kingdom of Selassie. Whilst Lithua has not officially joined the Empire and is very unlikely to do so, there is still a great deal of cultural exchange between all involved. because I do believe you are on the same level as us. In September 22, both the future king and his sister attended their first state visit abroad at the princely ball of the Golden Bucket. It's just information there about their royal family and their exploits there. So, I mean, that's the wiki. It's very, again, informative, but dare I say, I think we're done. But dare I say, I think we're done.
That was probably the most painless one so far. Not only did I feel I already knew enough about Lithua, I actually feel like I know more about them now than I did before, because their website was so informative. They don't have a YouTube, which is unfortunate, because they have so much great content that they could share and they could put out there, because they do have that physical territory. The information provided was straight to the point. It didn't beat around the bush. It laid it out right there in black and white and was very simple to kind of understand and to comprehend. And everything is based around that. Even their flag is based around that. You know, it's made up of the kind of concept of two rivers going around an island with the crown, which is, you know, representing that royal family, that monarchy, that are, you know, the rulers of that island. And that flag is very simple yet very meaningful. So, you know, there's been thought put into this to keep it in fitting, to keep it all you know, within a theme. Whereas before, like say for example with Obscurium, although their flag is very obscure, it's all over the place. There's not really a lot of understanding, and there's no explanation to what that flag is. In fact, in their kind of their parade video, they have a completely different flag altogether. I kind of assumed with Australia that they were either American or somewhere like America that have that kind of red, white and blue pride. Even though Britain do have the British Union Jack with red, white and blue, most Brits or English people or people from the UK, they don't necessarily like the Union Jack or use the Union Jack or see the Union Jack blue, red and white in a good way. If you're English, you have the Red Cross. If you're Scottish, you've got your Scottish blue and white, and if you're Welsh, you've got your dragon, and Ireland or Northern Ireland have their flag, and so on and so forth. And they don't necessarily see the blue, red and white as you know, colours to be proud of, whereas the Americans, they really do love that kind of, you know, proud nation under the flag kind of attitude. So it kind of made sense that with Australia that they were American, or at least have an element of America within their micronation. Obscurium, you have no idea what's going on with them. It's again obscure. They're living up to it. But Lithua, straight to the point, explains the flag, tells you where it came from or the origins of it, why it is the way it is. It's very to the point and direct. There's nothing else I can say. There's nothing. I'm dragging this out longer than it even needs to be. There's no qualms with that. It's again as I expected. The one thing that I am disappointed in is that there is no video or anything about the national anthem that you can read. There's no lyrics. There's no kind of. I'd like to see the lyrics. I'd like to see some kind of participation of kind of, you know, singing and music and lyrics that people can kind of get a feel of the micronation. Although our Waywoodian micronation isn't very well sung, the national anthem that we do have was written by myself, and every word of it was, you know, composed, written, if you like, or, you know, come up with from my own imagination. And we sing it proudly without actually being, you know, a choir or, you know, in any way musically talented, just because we're proud of the story that the national anthem of Wayward tells. And I would be interested to know if the Lithuan national anthem tells a story about Lithua, because it has that ability to do so, because they have that physical territory, they have that idea and that principle of what they want to do and why they founded it, because they've got longevity. Just like Wayward, they may be a micronation in the last couple of years, but they've been a community for a lot longer than that, from being children, being in the village, going on the island, being there as, you know, children growing up, gives them that longevity as that nation, regardless of if they claim themselves a micronation. They've got that claim, and that, I think, is again a very important thing to kind of have to back you up if you're going to be a micronation, a mini country. And again, they're really direct with their purpose. They're not claiming that they want to be a mini country. They're claiming that they want to help an island be protected and looked after environmentally. And again, that's a great cause. And it's one of those causes that, again, I can get on board with because it is a selfless act. Princess Claire, her family, they go out to that island to manage it, to look after it, to be coexisting with nature and to help it thrive. And again, Wayward fully supports this 100% because it's very, very similar, if not exactly the same, as what Wayward does. Bird boxes, flower beds, native plants, things like this, bees and things like this. It's exactly what Wayward does, and we support anybody, not just micronations or communities, but anybody that is trying their best to help nature. We did get a very brief mention on the MicroWiki bit where, you know, we are friends with Princess Claire and Lithua, and I like to think that, you know, as a micronation, that we would be more sort of engaged with them if it were our kind of approach. If I was to choose to be a micronation that didn't want to aspire to be as big as Wayward is, and it was just on a smaller level, then Lithua would definitely be one that we would have recognition treaties with and trade agreements with and all of the other micronational stuff that other micronations have on their websites and stuff, and we would make a bigger deal out of it. But it's not our kind of thing. It's not our cup of tea. So as much as we can trade with them or, you know, go and visit them and stuff, because Wayward doesn't do mutual recognitions and we don't do things like this micronationally, we don't have anything like that to connect us with Lithua. But I do like to think that, you know, myself and Claire, we got on pretty well. And, you know, as far as our community and their community goes, I do firmly believe that we will be good friends for the future. But are they a micronation? That is the question. Are they a micronation? Well, let's have a little look at the results that I can kind of come up with from what I've seen. Do they benefit their own citizens? If you join them, if you were to become a citizen of Lithua, is there a benefit to it? I would say there is a larger benefit to becoming a member of Lithua as a citizen than there is the previous two, because their Twitter is original. You're getting tweets from Princess Claire. They're not just retweets from other micronations. They're thought out messages to her followers. The website's very informative, though it doesn't seem to be updated regularly like with newspaper or broadcast or things like this. It's obvious that you can get more information just by following the social medias or joining the mailing list. It's not like being directed to a YouTube that is inconsistent or has no videos with no information on. There's no messing you around. You don't spend ages trying to look through newspaper articles or things like this that have no relevance whatsoever. You can go straight to the website, you can see the gallery, see the pictures, and I would argue that if they were to utilize YouTube, it would be very popular because they have content that they can put out there. And again, I would encourage that because, again, I think it's a good cause, and I think that people should be encouraged to take part in these environmental things. But in regards to citizen-wise, joining them, you do get informative information through Twitter. You may not get the newspaper articles or whatever, but there was an option to join a mailing list, so potentially there is newsletters that you get as a citizen. So already there are more benefits as part of that citizenship than there are the previous two. You also, of course, get that I say idea or the impression that if they've got exports, then they've got produce, and if they've got produce in you were a Lithuan, you could potentially use that or utilize it some way yourself. If they have the wine, if they have the fish, and as a Lithuan you were to approach them and want to purchase it or buy it or utilize it, they would probably have a system in place for you to do so. I don't think they would just use that just to trade with other micronations and to just use themselves. I think that they would use that. There's no evidence to suggest this, but I just think, why would you have that if you weren't going to involve your community? So if you did join Lithua, and say, for example, you were a Lithuan resident in a real world country, and it wasn't, hypothetically saying it wasn't people sporadically spread around the world, but all their citizens lived with them, and Lithua was, 100 miles bigger, and they had a system exactly the same as they have run right now, how would they benefit their people? Well, they can offer them food. They've got fish, they've got wine. And to be fair, if they've got fish and wine, then you got a pretty good party there, haven't you? You could sit down next to a lovely river, watching the birds flying in and out of their little bird boxes, watching the flowers grow, getting pissed, and eating salmon. I mean, as a citizen in that hypothetical situation, that would be a pretty good lifestyle, wouldn't it? That would be a pretty good thing. You're getting something from them because they've specifically said that's what their exports are. So they've obviously got that available, and I can testify to that myself, as well as the updates that they do put up about it. So realistically, if you were a citizen, the benefits are there. There are benefits. And of course, the benefits to the outside world are exactly the same because they've got an export. But more than that, they've got a bigger benefit to the outside world because they are helping the environment. They're environmentally involved. They are trying to do something that is helping a local area of where they live. They're trying to help something that they are passionate about, and they want to do and make a difference and make changes. And again, a great stance for a community, a micronation to have. And again, it ticks those boxes. Do they benefit Wayward? Well, they can benefit Wayward because we can trade for fish and we can trade for wine. And again, this has happened with Stamara and Lithua before. They've traded previously, and they've already stated that the silver stater, the Stamarian coin, is worth something to them. So yes, they can benefit us and we can benefit them because we can potentially use our skills and our knowledge and our resources to provide or trade with them things that they could use, such as bird boxes, such as things like this, because Wayward tends to make its own bird boxes a lot of the time, and potentially we could do this for Lithua in exchange for wine. So already we can benefit each other. We could already benefit each other in that sense. We've also got chickens, which are eggs, which is again a food source which could be traded for their food source. When we have our Waywardian brewery up and running once again, because we do like to brew our own alcohol in Wayward, and every year we brew, we're going to be brewing more and more each year, but this year we're going to focus on ale, wine and mead, and with our own ale, wine and mead, we can trade for their wine, which means we have now got more variety within our own market, within our own trade network, because we can swap, trade and potentially even purchase these commodities and these exports that Lithua has to offer. And they've got all the hallmarks of a micronation. They've got the flag. I can't say they've got a national anthem because I've not heard it, I've not seen any lyrics, but they do have one. They claim to have one, but I've got no evidence to suggest this. But they have got a flag. They have got a national anthem, apparently. They have got a community, though they do not speak much about the citizens that they have. There's no official number of citizens they've got, and there were no actual pictures of a physical community. There were obviously pictures of the Queen, the Prince, and Princess Claire herself, but in regards to the wider community, there isn't any, which would suggest that they don't have a large amount of people that are there in the physical form, but as they rightfully said, they have got people all over the world because Lithua itself doesn't hold residence. What would be great and what would be really amazing to see in the future potentially is to have those Lithuan citizens there at the island, all litter picking or all doing a conservative kind of sort of conservative project, a kind of an environmentally kind of positive, you know what I mean, doing something, putting up bird boxes, picking up litter, things like this. That would be great to see, and that would be very inspiring and motivating. They have that physical territory. They can utilize it. They are utilizing it. They can use it for the good of their people. They can put in their efforts for the good of their local community. They can benefit others around them. They have all the hallmarks of a micronation. And as I've previously said, it is a little bit biased on my behalf, but I definitely see Lithua right up here with the other micronations that I would see as genuinely aspiring for something, aspiring for a cause. Will they ever be a country? Probably not, but they never claim to want to be one. But should they be recognised as a micronation? 100%. I believe they have everything that you could ever kind of expect from a mini country. They have the territory, they have the flag, they have the national anthem, they have a governance system, they have exports, they have imports, they have a treasury, they have a environmental policy and projects that they can physically do in the real world. They have supporters and community all around them, and to suggest that the influence that Princess Claire would have wouldn't be wrong by looking at their Twitter following alone. So I do believe that this project since 2020 has grown considerably, and I expect it to grow more. So therefore I see progress in the future for Lithua. I see it expanding and growing. I see an actual real world entity doing real world things, and you may say it's biased because of my previous relationship and relation kind of with Lithua, but I'm genuinely saying this from the information I've seen. It's all there in black and white to see. If the other micronations had been more like, you know, informative and things like this, where you could see what they were doing physically, it may have been different. But I definitely put Lithua up here in regards to that micronational status. They are higher than Amastralia and way above Obscuria, in my opinion. I wouldn't say they were as great as Wayward, because we're aspiring for different things. So it's the equivalent of saying, like, Wayward is, you know, great at living on the land, but Lithuans don't live on the land. They live in the water. Do you know what I mean? Do you see what I mean? Can't always judge us for being exactly the same, because we're not. But we can see each other on the same level, you know, like a shark and a tiger, for example. The shark and the tiger are both predators, but they don't fare too well in different situations or in different environments. But when in their own environment, doing their own thing, they will thrive. And Lithua, in the water, that shark is thriving environmentally and micronationally and doing stuff in a way that is actually making progress, whereas Wayward on the land, which is obviously the tiger, though a predator itself as well, is not on the same level as that shark. It is out there doing its own thing, being a mini country, or striving to be a mini governing body of some description over the community that they want to provide as an alternative for their citizens. So we are on the same level, we're just very different things. And although you could argue that we don't recognize them as a micronation because they don't want to be recognized by macronations, we are going to recognize them as a micronation as just part of our community, because it makes sense. They are what the definition would be of a micronation. Apart from obviously having, you know, residents on the island itself, that's the only thing that I don't think they've got, and they don't want to. I mean, one would argue that maybe they don't need the micronational status. Maybe one would argue that you don't need that micronational status at all, and we shouldn't recognise them as a micronation, because that's not what they are, because that's not what they aspire to be. They aspire to be a more environmental activist group, and that there is exactly what they are. And although you could just stay with that and say that's all they are, they've aspired for more, because environmental activist groups don't have imports and exports. They don't acquire bullion. They don't store up these precious metals and acquire them for their treasury. They don't have a flag. They don't have a royal family. They don't have a governing system. They don't have that. Environmental active groups don't have these things. Lithua does. So Lithua is more than an environmental activist group by its own right, by its own achievements, because of what it's already done. So therefore, I will happily recognise the micronation that is the Isle of Lithua up here, right at the top of that list. And again, this is one of those micronations that isn't necessarily affiliated with Wayward at all, but we aspire to be a lot like them in that environmental sense. They do motivate Wayward. And although we do feel that we are in some ways above them, not better, above them on the levels of how far you could go making a mini country, it's only because they have stopped. And I would dare to say that if they continued, they would be right up there parallel to Wayward, because in all honesty, I believe that Princess Claire and even Queen Cherry of Lithua would make fantastic leaders of their own community, environmentally friendly, low impact kind of community, or whatever. It's just they don't aspire to be like that. They don't want that. So they're not going out and buying 100 acres to support that country. So they restricted themselves with their own limitation of, we just want to help the island. We want to be environmental activists in that sense, and we're going to do it micronationally. And I can support that. I do support that. So yeah, that there is the Kingdom of the Isle of Lithua. And if you want to find out more, you can find out their website in the description below, alongside all of Wayward's stuff as well. There's loads of links there. Check them out. And I'm going to see you in a video next time when we talk more about Wayward, the Kingdom of Wayward, and all things Waywardian, plus the macronational things and stuff that's going on over there that we probably don't even want to know about, but we're going to talk about them. And of course, more micronations in the future with the Waywardian Micronational Review.